Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. Our guest today is the Coffee County Mayor, Mr. Gary Cordell, and we haven't had him on for a while, so we've got 2 or 3 things of interest that we need to catch up on.
Yeah, I've been missing this.
And
we need to do it more often.
So as I say, thanks for taking the time to join us. And why don't we start by you telling the folks what's the status of the county? What's the situation? Are you in good shape, medium shape, bad shape?
Depends on your perspective. I think we're in really good shape. A lot of positive things going on in our county. And I would say right up front that we have, when we passed the budget last year, Tom, I was told that we passed the budget, the county commission, and my credit to them. We got a good county commission. I enjoy working with them. They've got a lot on the plate, and going through the budget process is really complicated, very complex, takes a lot of time. But to their credit, we passed a budget by June the 30th this past year, for only the second time in 9 years that a budget was passed by that June the 30th date. And we did that without a tax increase, and we restored about $1,400,000 to our operating reserve fund, which it had gotten down in the past to, I understand, about $600,000, which the state says is pretty serious, it's pretty low. And we got that up to almost $2 million. So we're on our way to restoring some.
That's your rainy day fund.
Yes, sir, rainy day operational fund. So that's in much better shape than it has been, and my hat's off to the commission for doing the work they do structurally through the budget and finance process and trying to get a budget passed by June 30th without a tax increase. And that, without a tax increase, is so critically important. We're trying to do what we can with transparency and whatever, trying to keep our tax structure as it is. I don't think anyone, myself included, wants to see another tax increase, because we know from dealing with business, it can be a business killer when industry comes here to look at.
And the last one was pretty painful.
Yes, it was. We're trying to keep that down.
Right. So,
but I'm excited about where the county is and where we're headed.
Good. Okay. Well, with that, folks, let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and talk some more.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do, you know.
Everyday miracles at Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the South Jackson Gadsby girls, starting the promotion for the Great Gatsby Gala that will be held at South Jackson
March 19, 2016.
Get your party hat on, folks. It's gonna be a ball. What about it, girls?
Here's to ya.
We're talking today, folks, with Mayor Gary Cordell, the county mayor, and we want to catch up on 2 or 3 things there. Let's begin. You got a budget passed last year on time, and with no tax increase. We're just now starting the budget season, I guess.
Yes,
so
we are.
How do things look? What are you hoping for?
We are fast and furious right now in the budget process. And I would say that I didn't pass that last year. Our county commission, to their credit, passed that with no increase. But they have the control of the purse. You know, they vote on that, and I'm hoping we do that and have another budget passed, hopefully by June the 30th, again with no tax increase. That's the guideline, that's the bottom line to what we're trying to work to. I can't promise or guarantee anything, but because we're right now in that process, and it's we got a budget finance committee meeting tomorrow night, and we're right in knee deep in that again. Yeah. But the different departments they've submitted the budget to our budget finance director. The Department of Education will be submitting theirs here in the next few weeks coming over. But right now we're evaluating department by department to see what the requests are, and are those requests absolutely essential? We're trying to keep keeping a tight rein.
Did you give them all a target and say, don't submit anything any higher than it was last year?
Well, we encourage that, but you know, everyone wants a salary increase or whatever, and we want to. But last year, Tom, I'll say this as I did on the break. In that process last year, we essentially froze our non-essential items below line item 300, which is other than salary items, on the county side, to basically just freezing that to where it was the year before. And that's the way last year the county commission basically was able to come up with no tax increase. And we hope we may have to do that again this year.
So you're going to, but you're at least going to have a salary request increase.
Always, every year.
Always.
Every year. And we're working through that process right now, trying to, within those budget constraints, trying to work with some of our first responders, getting their compensation up a little bit, because we're finding that in our ambulance, with our EMS workers, our compensation level compared to other counties is somewhat lower, so we're training people, bringing them on board, and they're going elsewhere. So we're trying to slow that drain down. Same way in our jail with our correction officers. We're finding out that their compensation is lower than other counties, so we get them hired and get them trained, and then they go elsewhere. So we're trying to close that gap a little bit to keep quality trained people here.
Yeah, well, sure.
But it's always a balancing act.
Yeah, well, this is early March. What sort of a schedule have you got lined out? You expecting when's your first budget submittal from the
Those
department?
will be submitted, but for review with Budget Finance tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
We've already got the request in from the departments, and that's not from the Board of Education side, but on the county government side, those budgets have already been submitted, and they'll be put on the table for introductory review tomorrow night.
Okay.
And we're moving that process up this year, a couple of weeks, moving up from last year.
Yeah.
So we'll have more through the process in April, May, and June, trying to come back to the table with a balanced budget
you can get it done.
Approved by June the 30th.
Well, good luck. I know you. The hardest thing you have to get from your board is money in the form of a tax increase.
Yes, sir.
They don't like to talk about that.
They don't like it. I don't like it either.
Okay. Well, let's move on to something else, folks. You had a recent audit,
yes, sir.
And everything, basically, the audit, the state conducts the audit, and it looked pretty good.
Yes, sir.
There were no major problems of any kind.
No major findings. We did have 6 findings this year. That's down from 10 the prior year, and 3 were on the Board of Education side and 3 on the county government side. And those are being reviewed and addressed, and I hope in time we have, and there's only a handful of counties statewide that have 0 findings. The public doesn't know that, but I want to see the day where we have Coffee County down at 0 findings.
Yeah, well, you had 10 and last year, and none of those were
significant or major.
Yeah, none of those were significant or causing anybody any trouble. Okay. And you know, it's interesting. I think it's worthwhile to mention to folks now and then that there are several of the departments that don't report to you.
That is correct.
You can't really, those that are independently elected.
Yes, sir.
School board, for example, the Register of Deeds.
Right.
Any of those folks, you can't really tell them what to do. You just have to work with them and hope you can come together. So.
That is true, and I told some folks Saturday in the meeting that we have constitutionally elected officers or officials in the state, or in the county rather, and I have no legal authority to tell any of them how they run their budget, who they hire, who they don't hire, how they operate their departments.
Right.
The sheriff department is totally separate. I can't control what the sheriff department does, or circuit court clerk, or county court clerk, or register of deeds, or trustee, or so. That's just the way county government operates.
Strange organization.
It really is. We are one of 95 political subdivisions in the state, and the state has laid it out that way, that's the structure they've established over the years. And a lot of people think, well, the mayor can just tell everybody what to do. It doesn't work that way. But we do work well together.
The rest of the counties, I would think, are probably got the same problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they're all, as you say, those are all constitutional offices that we're talking about. So it'd take a constitutional amendment to change it.
And that was last addressed and changed tweaked in 1978. It's been a while.
Yeah.
As far as the structure of county government.
With no great results. So, okay, well, let's move on to one of our more interesting subjects, and apparently there's a lot of smoke going around this particular subject, and it's fairly complicated. It's hard to sort it down to something that most of the folks out there can understand. This is with respect to the senior citizen centers. And the issue now is that they say somewhere around $60,000 to $70,000 shortfall in money-wise, more expenses than there is income coming in, and they need that money, most of that money or all of it, from the county or the city of Manchester or both. And this really seems to revolve around being able to keep the Manchester site still running on the same basis. So how does that look? What's your take on that?
Have you got about 30 minutes? No, seriously, I've spent a lot of time visiting both of those centers in the last month or 6 weeks, learned a lot, and we have wonderful seniors in our county and two wonderful centers. It's very complex, very complicated structure and situation. The bottom line to that is, effective the end of this month, March 31st, the Manchester site will be independent, operating on its own. And part of the funding for this entire operation.
It will?
Yes, sir.
As of when?
March 31. April
Okay.
1, the Manchester site will be, they'll be trying to set up their own 501c3 and have their own organizational structure and getting funding so that they can continue as a separate site.
They are setting up a separate corporation?
Separate 501c3, yes, sir.
Yeah. That's what folks, you probably are not aware of, that I thought the Senior Citizen Center was a county organization, but as it turns out, they are a separate independent corporation.
That is true.
A 501c3 corporation, and the complexity is that they get money from a whole bunch of different sources that comes in nickels and dimes and quarters and dollars, and then the expenses, of course, have to go out, and it's very difficult to unscramble all of that.
That's true. We're trying to unscramble to make it better going forward. And as I mentioned to the seniors as I began this discussion, that as county mayor, I have no authority over that operation, period.
Right.
But I was willing to start talking with them so we could get folks talking together to try to determine what we felt was best, or what was felt was best for the seniors of our county. Because I'm convinced we need two sites in the county, the Tullahoma site and the Manchester site. And over the years, with corporate structure, the Tullahoma site has been like the corporate office, and the Manchester site has been like the satellite office.
Right.
And now it's time for those two to separate so they can go their own way, have their own independent structure and fundraising and whatever.
Okay.
And I'm convinced, Tom, if we get this right now, it'll be better for our seniors in the county going forward.
Oh, sounds like it. Yeah, I hadn't picked up on the fact that you were quite that far along. I know one of the suggestions was that Manchester set up their own corporation, the 501c3. You're saying that's underway.
Yes, sir.
That's going to happen.
That's being looked at now, and I'm convinced it will happen in time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and we can't change that overnight or get that 501c3. But I want to mention that's a lot of plans being made to do that. And Manchester City will be coming to the table. Well, the discussion is right now that Manchester City, we're hopeful, will come to the table with some more infusion of money to help the Manchester side. Right. To the credit, Tullahoma has been injecting over $30,000 into the operation of the Tullahoma side over the years. And
of the Manchester side?
Well, of the Tullahoma side. And my hats off to Tullahoma for Tullahoma City infusing that money in to help the Tullahoma side over the years, paying the utilities and so on.
And Manchester contributes?
Only $1,500 at this point.
$1,500.
Yes,
so that...
And that's been reviewed right now by Manchester to see what they can come up with to help in that side over there.
Yeah, one summary I had on it was that there was somewhere around a $60,000 or $70,000 shortfall, and that that money either needed to come from the county or the city of Manchester, or a combination of those two somewhere.
And that's been looked at right now. And it's really, I guess where that figure came from, it's really costing the Manchester site $65,000 or $70,000 to operate that facility over each year. And that's what's being looked at right now, how to fairly support that.
Yeah.
And there needs to be a balance on that, and Tullahoma, the folks here in Tullahoma, the site here, will need some infusion of money, which is being looked at from the standpoint of the appropriation of the money that the county's appropriating. Make sure there's a good split between that money going to both sides.
Okay.
And private industry is beginning to look at the possibility of maybe infusing some money in to help the Manchester side. And we're hopeful that private industry will take a look at that and help our seniors out and infuse some money in both sides to ensure going forward that they will be both accountable and solvent.
Okay. Well, that,
so
folks,
it's looking really good.
We need to take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and go some more.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
It's your trademark. That's something special everyone knows and remembers. It's your thing. It's made holidays special for decades and summers unforgettable for the entire neighborhood. It's made everyone laugh every single time. Don't let illness or injury keep you from doing your thing. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Coffee County Mayor Gary Cordell, and we have just before the break we were discussing the difficulty with the senior citizen centers. We have one in Tullahoma and one in Manchester. They're both, well, there's a separate corporation that operates out of Tullahoma that has been setting up the Manchester facility with funding from lots of different sources. And they're now trying to sort that out. And it sounds like at the end of the day, you're pretty confident that you've got the discussions and the necessary changes underway to fix this problem in the foreseeable future, maybe.
I think so, Tom. I feel good about the future of both centers. And as I was saying a while ago, when I started a discussion with them, I'll be glad to facilitate your discussions, but I'm not a mediator or a judge in any of this. That's not my role, and I have no authority to do that. But we want what's best for the seniors in our county and for the two sites, because they provide so much for our seniors in this county. And Saturday evening I went over to the Manchester side. I was invited over there. They had a group there by the name of Road West, one of the best music groups I've ever heard. They sang songs that were popular back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And my wife was there, and it was just good to watch those seniors as they had a meal there and as they bask in that music and just enjoyed the evening. And I welcome the opportunity to visit, the Tullahoma site as well. But it's critically important that we provide for the future of our seniors.
Yeah.
Because without them, none of us would be here.
And we do need.
And I'm one of those seniors.
We do
by the way,
need both centers,
yes,
right?
we do.
There's no
absolutely.
question about
But I feel
that.
good about what I see in the future shaping up for both of those.
Okay. Very good. Well, let's bring up another little subject that seems to keep cropping up, that all they need is some more money.
Everybody
and
needs more
everything
money.
would go away, right?
Yes, sir.
It's funny how many problems that solves. The county convention center.
Yes, sir.
Also has been a chronic money issue from the beginning. I don't know, that thing's been around 10, 12.
About 14 or 15 years.
14 or 15 years. And it has operated in the red every year, I think.
Yes, sir.
It's
That is
been
correct.
open and still is. And you're trying to come to grips with that. Tell us what's going on. What is the situation?
Right now in the audit committee, we have the Public Building Authority Board has oversight of that. They have appointed a new interim director. And I'm really impressed with her capability, what she brings to the table, her insight and oversight, and she's providing that insight and oversight into restructuring the operation there with internal controls that have not been in place in the past so much, and providing a lot better oversight to that. To assist in that, the Public Building Authority has now come up with a 3-person audit committee, one person representing the county, one representing Manchester, and one of the PBA board members to provide some financial oversight and accountability to that. And they're serious with their discussions, and I'm convinced that moving forward will help reduce that deficit every month.
Why is your new director interim? Is there some?
She was appointed in December, and the board, they have the authority to decide as to whether or not they'll make that permanent. And with what I've seen with her professional capabilities, whatever, I think the board is leaning that way. They'll make that decision, if not before, by sometime in June. And I hope going forward she will be the general manager, because she's certainly providing some professional oversight and restructuring of the internal operations of that. Okay. But that's up to the PBA board to make that determination.
Well, one might fairly ask, I guess, if it's been around 14, 15 years, how come it isn't self-supporting at this point?
If I knew that answer, we've been researching that for several. And part of it just has to do with the structure of it and what it was sold to the county, or to the county in Manchester as years ago. It was to be a conference center that would be a facilitator, a place where events and venues would come in, where if new industry was looking at coming to the county, they could come there and have a boardroom there where they could study and meet. And some of what it brings to the table is some intangibles. And I would mention that last Friday in the board meeting I attended, they are entering a contract with MTSU so that this summer a feasibility study will be done to determine all the intangible benefits that the conference center brings to the county. And that will be, and I don't know that feasibility has ever been done before. I compliment the authority on the insight to have that done, because it will be important for the citizens of the county to know what some of the intangibles are that you just can't put a price tag on.
I was going to say, the first question you have to get into, I guess, is what difference does it make? Mm-hmm. Is the thing really providing any net benefit to the county? Yes, and if so, what is it? Yeah. What would we lose if we closed it?
Yeah. I don't know what the impact would be if we closed that. It's so much that's just unknown. But I know business coming in will not have the focal point. For example, a week ago, Bonnaroo was there with, I understand 75 people from across their system across the country. We're meeting there for 2 days in-house there in the conference center, discussing, laying out the events and the processes for the Bonnaroo this summer.
60 to 75 people.
60, or I understand close to 75 people. But they were there for 2 days. And other groups come in. Vanderbilt Hospital, I understand, has had a seminar here as well as some others. But they come here, and this is becoming a meeting place between Chattanooga and Nashville for groups to come in and have conferences. So it's hard. Yes, you would like to make money on every one of those, but some of the events that come in, maybe not quite pay their own way, but it does provide benefit to the county by having the groups come in.
Okay.
It's very complicated.
Yeah, it is.
Trust me, it's very complicated.
And of course there are, what are a couple of the events that really involve, frequently you have large groups that come in and they have a dinner, mm-hmm. for example, and an evening program. Who is that? How many?
Well, back in November, for example, the Sportsman Club that had been in the county for years, they had a big gala event there, and there were
Sportsman's Club.
Sportsman. I think there were over 400 people there. Wow, and I know too, a year before when I was there, former Governor Bredesen was there. And I sat there at the table with him, and a lot of people come from different places so we could discuss, and it's just a great opportunity for them to come. You have just other venues coming in from time to time, some bigger events.
You got 400 people there for a dinner and meeting, and where else in the county could you do that if you didn't have the center?
It's right off the interstate. It's strategically located, and it's the site to have that, so people can come in north, south, east, or west to meet right there.
And if we didn't have it, there isn't anywhere else that could handle that kind of a meeting, is
where would they go?
Yeah. So, okay. Well, all right. And are you convinced that the solution is in sight, that you're going to be able to sort it out and make the thing start at least breaking even in the foreseeable future?
I'd love to see it get close to a break-even point. I'd love to see them make a little money. But with the audit committee that's now in place, with the oversight they're providing, and the professional qualities that this new interim manager brings to the table, and I would not even think about venturing a time when we get close to break even. But I know that monthly deficit is being reduced now. And that deficit has been covered by the county, has it not? County and city. County and city. Okay. The monthly deficit is split between 50-50 between Manchester and the county. And the county. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, all right. With that, folks, I think we're going to need to take a commercial break and come back and wrap up. We've run out of time.
The Kia Summers on Us sales event is going on right now at Russell Barnett Kia of Tullahoma. Let me tell you about this event. Purchase a new Kia Sedona, Kia Optima, Kia Forte, and receive 0% financing up to 66 months and your first 3 payments for free. For a limited time only, no strings attached. With America's best warranty, the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, Kia is the power to surprise. The Kia Summers on Us sales event going on right now. Why buy anywhere else?
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We've been talking today with Mayor Gary Cordell, the county mayor, and we've covered 3 or 4 subjects of interest, and all of them can be solved by more money, which is not an unusual problem. But meanwhile, Gary, have you got a little something you'd like to go direct to the folks with?
Well, I like to say in closing, it is a challenge of a lifetime and a joy to represent as a public service the people of our county. We have a wonderful county, and every decision we try to make, I'm trying to look at what is best for the people of our county, taking into account the tightrope we're walking between more programs and more money, but trying to keep our tax structure in place so we can recruit more industry and for the sake of our county to provide better jobs. But it is a joy and an honor to, and I enjoy every day. It's a, again, it's a
well, I was going to say, are you happy in your job?
Yes, I really am. Yeah. I really am, because trying to make a positive, we've got a lot of issues to be reviewing, and we are. And my director of maintenance said last week, said, Mayor, I've been here about 16 years, and I don't ever recall all the issues hitting at such a time like this to where we're addressing so much. But it's that's okay. We're just trying to make it the. I'm partial, and I think we've got the best can in the state, but we want to do what we can to make it better. And it's an honor to be here. Yeah. I love our people. Okay. And you mentioned all we can do is say this in passing, that one of your things you're trying to do is to get the inmate population to jail under control. Yes, if it grows, you're going to need some more money for jail in a couple of years. And we're trying to come up with ways to not be soft on crime, but to get them out, not to.
All right. Gary, thanks very much for taking time to spend with us, and thank you folks for inviting us into your parlor, and we'll see you next time.